Thank you for coming today. Before we begin, I respectfully ask everyone to put your phone on silent mode, and also we will be on the other than people that are here. There's also viewing public via Facebook coverage and the Live channel. So just want to bring that up to you guys. Um, Continuing on, we were in recess at approximately 11:30 this morning, and this afternoon we do have continue on with our agenda. We have Mr. Rivera, Administrator for OGM SC, before us. But before I do that, I would like to officially call this meeting back to order. And I'm item number 5, as I mentioned, OGMSC Administrator Epifanio E. Cabrera Jr. And Sarge, can you please accompany Mr. Cabrera to his seat? Mr. Sergeant Rogers. Please come in. Okay. Also, I would like to recognize the presence of the Sacklers, Ms. Vicky Guerrero, and Ms. Amy Shai. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's been Ray, you have the copy of the agenda? This just nothing really in particular, just continue on with the discussion as well. As for consistency purposes, I'm going to ask again the clerk to please administer the oath for you guys for consistency purposes. Yeah.
Please stand and raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dara. Thank you, Administrator and key staff that are with you today. Before we just to kind of give you a brief summary of this morning's activities, we had two testimony from Department of Labor and Department of Community and Culture Affairs. They both provide a very informative and good information for the special committee. I will not pose any question for now until I allow you for your just a brief remarks. I do want to say though that there's 2 standing requests before the committee that we were expecting from you. One is the update on items A to O, no, on the 1949, plus some of the financials information, update information that I tasked Mr. Limupan to work with you on that. So, if you have those, please submit them today or as soon as you can. So at this time, without any objection from the members, I recognize Mr. Cabrera.
Thank you, Senate President. First of all, to my left is Ms. Dana Calvo, Grant Specialist, and she also handles the rental assistance program. To her left is Mr. Daniel Taitano, Program Officer at the Rental Assistance. To my right is Mr. Frankie F. Angel, Grant Specialist under the Office of Grants Management. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to shed some light on the information that I believe is some misinformation shared on last Tuesday's testimony, if I may. I'm only here trying to present the truth and the facts, and as I am under oath. In regards to OGM failing to provide an equal share of grants in the past 6 years to the municipalities, I would like to inform everyone in the community that OGM cannot ensure equal share of grants between the municipalities because OGM is simply the clearinghouse and not the grantor. OGM reviews grants. We can write grants too, but we also upload the grants for grantor approval. Also in the grants world, approvals are based on specific needs and what proposals are submitted. I don't believe we have submitted the same topics for each island because the needs of each island are different. Just as in the case of the coconut rhino beetle on Rhoda, which is plaguing Rhoda right now, and it has the possible propensity to reach the other islands. The municipality of Rhoda submits a proposal tailored to their needs. I don't recall a time OGM withheld a submission of any sort for a Tinian grant proposal. In fact, we welcome and encourage agencies to submit. This special committee knows that our office depends on funds derived from reimbursements of indirect costs from federal grants. Therefore, the more OGM submits, the more we can stay open because as mentioned in the past, we only receive $1 annually from the CNMI budget. In regards to requests made during former Mayor J.P. San Nicolas' time, during January 2017, OGM did not have enough funds to carry out requests because the law had just been passed in June 2016 and the Division of Finance and Accounting did not collect in full the IDC. So it will be very difficult to entertain any requests at that time because you're just loading up the money. In regards to the procurement of a Nissan Rogue for the Tinian Youth Center, which was never approved, this proposal was submitted to the U.S. Department of Agriculture for a vehicle for the Tinian Youth Center, but it was disapproved. At that time, changes in regional policy made it difficult for CNMI entities to get a grant unless we can get a current audited financial statement. Again, I cannot guarantee grant awards. I merely submit them. In regards to assistance for expenses prior to Typhoon U2, which were not approved, I recall Mayor Adam visiting my office and we discussed that OGM could not entertain this request because it was late. OGM Memo 219-113 was issued on August 6, 2019 to the Division of Finance and Accounting, already 1 month after the visit by Mayor Aldan. Again, OGM received a grant amounting to $1.5 million to pay for government unmet needs as it relates to operational bills since the CNMI government had poor cash flow derived from a weakened economy caused by the onslaught of Super Typhoon U2. I remember this time because Mayor Aldan was really disappointed with the outcome, but I cannot do anything. Everything had already been submitted to finance and then to the federal grantor, and payment had been executed within days of the memo because the CNMI government was cash strapped and we need to pay vendors for services already rendered. Again, I'm not responsible for who gets paid or who didn't get paid. Finance and accounting chose the vendors of who they're gonna pay. I merely got the grant for the CNMI government. On June 13, 2019, a request was made for members of the municipality of Tinian to go to Guam for the 30th Pacific Environmental Conference. I did my research this morning on this matter and I found that a letter was in fact written to my office. In fact, 2 members of OGM were supposed to go on that trip, Mr. Bruce Camacho and Frankie Angel, but they didn't go because we didn't have enough money. But after calling Finance and Accounting today to the travel section, TA number 351374 was executed for Mr. Alan Perez under the OGM account of 1043A with check number 497136 for the payment for his travel. TA number 351375 was executed for Mr. Esteban King, but he canceled and the trip was deleted. TA number 351376 was executed for Tinian DPW Director Joel Untalan under OGM account 1043A, and he received a travel advance payment under check number 497135. After that, when he came back, he filed a voucher and he received a reimbursement of $288.01. TA number 351378 was executed for former Tinian Senator Francisco Borja. He received an advance, however, it was later canceled and deleted. Mayor Edwin P. Odon did travel on the trip, but according to the record, he used a 1010 or 1064 account, according to Finance and Accounting this morning. On September 26th, the issue was the hiring of 2 FTEs for Tinian and to train staff. Well, this goes back to what we discussed with the special committee about our shortfalls. I'd like to state for the record that OGMC has conducted 2 training sessions on the island of Tinian and on Rhoda by direct request by Governor Torres. We also conducted 2 separate face-to-face grants training, including Zoom access from the Multipurpose Center, May 28, 29, and one from TIC on April 29. Both training events had Tinian and Rhoda attendees listed on our attendance rosters. In fact, we had training scheduled in May and June of this past few months or this month, but we had to postpone due to this hearing. But we will have more trainings and more technical ones in the near future. In regards to training for Ms. Reina Cabrera, Ms. Reina Singh Cabrera is a very smart and hardworking and knowledgeable person. I have no doubt. I'm not disputing that. She's really good. I humbly ask for her patience as we set out for a more structured setting filled with technical instruction. Other than that, I've seen Ms. Reina join in Zoom meetings when we had trainings at the Multipurpose Center and PIC the past months. Again, the training will come, just please be patient. In regards to grant status for funding from the Assistant Secretary, specifically on Mayor Don's request for $1 million in heavy equipment from OIA, I've explained to Mayor Don in the past that it would be extremely difficult for OIA to grant outright $1 million for heavy equipment to the island of Tinian. In fact, all the MAP grants from the municipality of Tinian submitted in 2020 did not amount to $1 million. So there's an issue there. It only amounted to less than $500,000. $327,000 for a boom hydro mower and $150,000 for a backhoe. That's for MAP grants. In addition, there's usually a pool of $2 million in maintenance assistance funding that all territories and the freely associated states are competing for. For your information, there is a review process that occurs at the grantor level in order for these grants to be awarded. Again, OGM reviews and uploads these grants proposals to the portal. October 21, 2020, OGM met with the departments on Tinian and was promised a computer. The computers were intended for those employees that attended a training held at the public library. Therefore, training was provided. I stand corrected, right? We had an agreement on Tinian. We were supposed to exchange the computers for the proposals, but I'm still waiting for the proposals. However, I have the computers. I have the computers, sir. We can give the computers and maybe I can get the proposals later. But that was our exchange. We wanted the proposals. The proposals from the attendees. Quite frankly, I've tried calling Mayor Don on many occasions, but I still get no answer. I text him on WhatsApp, and I know he reads the messages because it turns blue, but I still get no reply. We have requested meetings with the mayor on 2 occasions to visit and to deliver these computers and to settle our differences and to review that line of communication, but my attempts were not entertained. Twice our meetings were canceled by the senior mayor's office. In regards to the emails and projects, um, I want everyone to understand that this office plays a vital role with the COVID-19 task force, the rental assistance, and Fisher's relief. With our limited staff comes limited time. OGM cannot be everywhere and do everything at once. In regards to the solar lights project, Ms. Reina mentioned on her testimony that she is communicating with Mr. Angel, which is to my right. We are at a standstill because we are still waiting for federal permits to be cleared. For the record, all EIC projects regarding solar or photovoltaics are on hold because we need the NEPA clearance. Not only Tinians, even ROTA projects are on hold. Mayor Adam said he met with Assistant Secretary Doug Dominich, who asked him what he needed from the results of Typhoon U2. He said he asked for heavy equipment. The grantor, and this is in regards to denial letters, the grantor should be issuing the denial letters, not OGM, because they can state the reason for the denial. If you want me to write a letter just to simply inform you of the denial, then I can write one, but then I cannot explain why. Again, as mentioned, we typically inform agencies of positive award letters, and they understand that if they get an award letter, then the opposite is the other grants didn't get awarded. Therefore, hence a denial. I highly caution Mayor Adam for claiming Assistant Secretary Doug Dominich promised him $1 million in heavy equipment. This bold statement is hard to believe considering a former Assistant Secretary of the Interior resigned due to attempts to guarantee funding in the past. The staff of OIA should know better because they have an established process. Maybe this is just a mere misunderstanding. Again, depending on the federal agency, denial letters are hardly provided, just award letters. Again, OGM serves as the clearinghouse and not the grantor or federal granting agency. But I will communicate with OIA to get formal denial letters for future projects. In regards to the food relief drive held on Tinian, we did try to reach out to vendors on Tinian. We have copies of purchase orders, but we had to cancel them because the vendor wanted money upfront before an order could be placed. And to me, that's not fair. That's not right. You need to provide the service before we can get you the money upfront. I believe a voucher system has been mentioned, although it is feasible, but it would reduce the amount of funds dedicated to the relief drive. We were able to provide approximately 100% of household packages to residents, CW or US citizen on Tinian and Rhoda, about 800 packages each. On Saipan, we only gave out 1,600 packages, which is about less than 5% of the total population of Saipan. Therefore, hence we catered more to Tinian and Rhoda with this relief drive. In addition, if we were to use a voucher system, we will need a redeeming agent and we will need to print vouchers. Again, this will reduce the amount of assistance to the people in need. In regards to the heavy equipment rental charges for the relief distribution, OGM did not know we had charges relating to the February 2021 relief distribution. Through conversations with Ms. Dorothy San Nicolas of OGM at the Tinian Mayor's office, she informed us that heavy equipment charges would be free. We only found out otherwise on May 7th, more than 3 months after the relief drive, that we needed to pay. I had to call Ms. Alice Adriano for the invoices, and she provided it to me. And then we immediately worked on the purchase orders to pay for these charges, but we never knew that we owed money. 3 months is too long to make a vendor wait. In regards to the failure for heavy equipment to provide heavy equipment after the math of Typhoon Yutu, OGM should not be contacted after a typhoon for heavy equipment. I recommend that the mayor coordinate his efforts or his request to the GAR or to the Joint Field Office, the JFO, so they can work on contracts with FEMA or the Military Liaison Office, who has close working connections to the Joint Region Marianas, to support Tinian during the recovery efforts. That is not our responsibility to provide equipment after a typhoon. I have nothing against the mayor of Tinian. I would like our relationship to remain as professional as possible. But I would like to let the public know what items we have provided to the municipality of Tinian in the past years. OGM provided a sub-grant for a tractor amounting to $43,000. This is our partial of the total full under former Tinian Mayor JP San Nicolas. He shouldered the rest, and this was for Dilinar. We wrote a grant to obtain a feasibility study for the Tinian Breakwater through the Office of Economic Adjustment. That grant was awarded at $586,000. However, under the Army Corps of Engineers, that project was removed or transferred to a different section of the Army Corps of Engineers. We provided relief goods to the people of Tinian after Super Typhoon Yutu. Over $200,000 in relief supplies were distributed, including gas vouchers. We provided food relief for COVID-19 pandemic in 2021 of February. Over $70,000 in supplies were distributed. We purchased some parts for the Tinian DPW under the request of Mr. Joel Untalan. We hired a staff member in 2020 to bridge the gap between the grants office and the mayor's office, despite having limited funds in our office. We also funded the stipend Tinian ferry costs for MVA for the Pika Fest for 2021. Most recently, we also purchased the solar lights that were installed at Jones Beach for the beach volleyball area. We also aided in providing government fuel during COVID-19 operations through Homeland Security. I believe the municipality of Tinian and Rota received $5,000 in prepaid fuel. DPS Tinian received vehicles from DPS Saipan for patrol in 2018 from the grant we wrote in 2018. In 2021, we wrote a grant and was awarded to employ 6 defense cadets for each island of Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. In 2021, we wrote a grant and was awarded for the employment of 18 new police cadets. I believe they're going to be from Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. We also purchased bush cutters, and we provided to each municipality, also including Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. We are currently assisting the Tinian Municipal Council with their written request for lumber and tin for their outdoor huts around beach areas. We made a partial delivery, and the municipality, the council has recognized that delivery. Lastly, I would like to apologize to Mayor Aldan and to the municipality of Tinian for any misunderstandings or confusions that may have resulted in the past. I am willing, if he is willing as well, to move past this for the people's sake. In the end, the people are suffering and we need to deliver public service. We are willing to meet with the Tinian delegation to resolve any differences. And in closing, I will also want to thank the committee. You have taught me a lot. I'm also very receptive to making amendments to Public Law 19-49 for the betterment of OGM and for the stakeholders we serve. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Cabrera.
Sir, sorry, can I say one more thing?
Go for it.
I forgot. Only today, this morning, we received notice from the U.S. Department of the Interior. As mentioned in the past hearings, we will receive award notices from OIA. Only this morning around 3 a.m. I received a notice. And for the record, the CNMI received $2.79 million in grants from OIA for this fiscal year. Of that amount, Tinian received 2 awards. Tinian submitted 5 grant applications and was awarded 2. One is for the House of Taga Restoration and Preservation Project at $169,307, and the other one is for a MAP grant for the acquisition of a backhoe. The 3 other grants that were denied was the project for the Tinian Youth Center Cultural Program at $128,296.25, a mower boom acquisition, the boom tractor mower at $242,000 was denied, and then the $22,337.50 for the Tinian Skate Park makeover was denied. I will work with OIA to try and get those denial letters to the municipality of Tinian. Other than that, we received in total $2.79 million for TAP, $703,500 in MAP, $2.3 million in CARES Act that will go to the hospital for the expansion of the pharmacy, outdoor pharmacy, drive-through pharmacy, and for another expansion of their laboratory. I have a list here of all the grants that were submitted, in total of $5.795 million from OIA. Also, not specifically to the municipality of Tinian, CPA Tinian did receive a grant under CPA, but for the Tinian airport. They received $185,000 for maintenance equipment, probably a batwing tractor, $185,000. But I count that as CPA. But CPA Tinian received the award. Other than that, again, thank you. And if there's any other questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cabrera. Certainly appreciate the information you provided. And also recognizing the pitfalls or miscommunication that may have occurred during and what we get out of all these things for the last 3 days is the denial, maybe denial letter is in order, or even an email to some sort to anyone, not just in your case, in this case, the municipality, but anybody and I know it could be an additional burden on the agency, but everybody goes to you in terms of this particular matter. So, and I appreciate that you recognize that you're going to work with. Is there anything in the law that precludes you from writing that letter or prohibits you from writing that letter of denial?
Actually, as mentioned, I just feel uncomfortable writing the letter because I don't know the reason why it was denied. I can just simply say it was denied, period. But I cannot give a reason unless I will have to call.
Yeah, but the question is, to maintain the line of communication with the favorable or not.
Yes.
Maybe part of the letter should include, if you have further details in the matter, this is the number of contact, or this is a link to look at, or because they look to you on all these matters. And so maybe that's something that you seriously consider in terms of your communication overall. But I'm gonna refrain from asking further question, and I would like to recognize the member with me this afternoon to pose their question. Joe? Recognize Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Administrator Cabrera and your OGM team. Thank you for sharing with us with all the assistance you're going to municipalities and agencies. But I think in regards to what you have said, the co-share, we completely understand that. And I think municipalities understand that it's based on the needs and based on the population. That's not, I think that's not the case here. The case here is in regards to delivering of a system, communication, and also should be equal attention and equal opportunity for OGM to render assistance to the municipality or agency, most especially if the agency is lacking the expertise in pursuing to that availability of grant. I think it's your office. On another note, in regards to the portal or the networking that it's I think established, I think uh, grant writers couldn't get into that. It always reflecting back to you because you have the authority to go into that to see what is available, grant available for the agencies or department. It's always reflecting back to you. Couldn't go any further. So those are the things that I think needs to be addressed and fixed. It's not about who gets more and who gets less. Uh, I think they understand that part, but it's about communication and equal opportunity of assistance from your office. That's the most important part. So again, I thank you for, uh, for your statement this afternoon in regards to all the assistance that you have rendered. And you're the only person, the administrator, that can communicate with directly to grantors in regards to the status, because you are given that authority. Nobody else is given that authority except you. So I think that should be very clear. And if you see a department that couldn't move forward, I think it's your office job is to assist them and not ignore the requests. We should be working together because we're working for one Commonwealth. We're working for everyone here. We're not just working for an individual department or agency. We're working for everyone because this is for the benefit of the Commonwealth and the people. So I think that's the problem there is communication with the agency or the head of that department. And you mentioned in your first testimony on your first day that you are here, that you understand. So I even mentioned that, because you understand, you should be using also or working together. Your staff should be working, or either you working with any department agency, so that they can also assist you guys in proceeding forward with whatever the grant that they are applying. But I think the problem here is OGM wants to take everything into your office to be the one doing everything. So you understand until such time that you have the necessary people to overcome whatever that you mentioned in the beginning, that there's a lot of money that needs to be tapping, but you understand, and the delivering of services to agency are not as adequate as everyone should be respecting. So I think working together with other department and agency would be a good start and a successful one, to address your understaffed issue. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Cruz. Now I recognize that for you. Well,
Thank you, Mr. President. And good afternoon, Administrator Ferreira, and to your staff as well. Thank you for being here. We made it to the last day. It's the last day, President? Yeah, it's the last day. And, we've all went through a lot of emotions and information. And we've digested a lot of that information, especially our fiscal analyst, Dave, who digested all the numbers. We've listened to many oral testimonies. Some had issues with the process and structures, and they had complaints, but others, the other entities, didn't have any issues, right? And everything was working well for them and had a good working relationship. Just listening to and looking at the work that you've done, personally, I appreciate the efforts, your efforts, and the efforts of your staff. We can't take away from what you have delivered, to the CNMI government, its entities, its instrumentalities. I know that you've tried your best, and everyone has tried their best, right? And we've heard that from you, and we've seen it in the work. So, this platform was a healthy one. It needed to happen. This platform needed to happen. And what have we got, out of these several days? I've been thinking and kind of pondering what have we got and what can we get out of this every night before I go to bed and come back to sit here again and listen to many of the entities and individuals. What have we got? What have we got out of the proceedings? The need to amend Public Law 1949, as you said, you're receptive to do that, for more clarity in the mandates of the law, right? To make it more effective. We've referenced sections and subsections in the past several days, and we've looked at all of that. So there's a need for that. There's a need for, it's no secret that there's a need to amend Public Law 19-49. And, we've been talking, and the president has been speaking to us, and we're going to continue that work with you. Also, the need to deliver all mandates language in Public Law 1949. There's a need in that from everything that we've heard. The need to restructure the procedures to perform mandates more effectively, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our own operations and all the duties that we do on a daily basis, and all the responsibilities that we take on a daily basis, whether you're an elected leader, an administrator, a grant specialist, a fiscal analyst, a journal clerk, or whatnot. We all have our own unique duties. And from time to time, sometimes we need to restructure that, right? Sometimes it doesn't work how we want it to work, or we have frustrations about it. What we have to do is we have to pull back and kind of just restructure stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And importantly, as stated by Senator Cruz, the need to communicate effectively. That is the number one reason that we're here, I think. Just to be flat out direct and straight. It's the absence of effective communication. That's why we were in these proceedings for the past couple of days. Nothing else. Your work is superb. Everything, there's no missing. If there's missing numbers, it's just because of the change, the activities that are going on a daily basis and stuff like that. So we've moved on from that. In the absence of effective communication, it triggers inaccurate assumptions, and it prevents. And if we have, effective communication, we can prevent misunderstandings. What else? The need to identify and reach out to departments, instrumentalities, and entities is mandated in Public Law 19-49 as well. Simple emails. How's everyone doing with their grants? If they're doing fine, then at least that reach out was there. And then that acknowledgement and recognition was there, which is very important. I cannot stop saying that when we acknowledge things and we recognize things, even though we don't have to, it feels good, right? Because we feel that people are really kind of looking at our work and they care. The need to approach certain situations and individuals cordially. That is very important. This enables. When we're cordial with each other, it enables healthy dialogue. When we're not cordial with each other, it really triggers just confrontations. And, working up here, just to share my personal experiences up here, working with 28 other elected officials. All of us have, when I first started here, I wanted to kind of change how people were thinking and how how their attitude was and how they approach stuff, because I wanted them to approach it the way that I approach it, right? Because I feel good when I approach stuff like that. But I came to the understanding and I made peace within myself that I couldn't do that. I cannot change the personalities of others, but I can change how I approach that and how I accept those personalities, right? And I accept it in a positive way. Whether a negative comes, we can shoot it back with positive. They say a negative and a negative is, there's nothing good about that. So everyone, Administrator Cabrera, everyone has different personalities. Everyone has different days, bad days, good days. But we have to kind of know how to approach these things, right? In the way where we put our attitude so that there's healthy communication. So again, we cannot control that, but we can control the way we approach the differences in a positive manner. So that's it. I've come to the realization after all these days and after even weeks and weeks of the Senate President who chairs the special committee preparing all of us for this. It took weeks for us to really get to this point and to start this platform. But like I said, it needed to happen. And I'm not second guessing the work of the grants office. You guys have been, providing what you need to provide and when you can, and with doing your best. I'm just gonna state out that we're here because of just the lack of effective communication. That's why we're here. There's no other reason why we're here. The work is superb. People are getting what they need, but again, when emotions are challenged, then it triggers a lot of confrontation, and that could take us away from our work very, very easily. So all I ask is that we, not only yourself but all of us, right? All of us try to communicate effectively. When I come across hard, or when I try to communicate with people and it's difficult, I just stop and I kind of take time and I say, okay, I'll talk to you later. Maybe this is not a good time, but maybe we'll conversate later and we can try to find a solution, or we can see where we can meet halfway to get things done, or kind of just give information or the callbacks or email back and stuff like that. So just healthy communication. That's all. I think that's all we need to do right now, and I'm sure we can all move forward. But we couldn't have moved forward if we didn't have the platform needed to happen. And I appreciate the leadership of our Senate President for making this happen, right? And it's not only OGM. It has to be. There's been oversights for other agencies, and we've called in other agencies to discuss the differences and discuss the frustrations, right? And the reason why it kind of sort of always ends up here is because we are the daily ear from the constituents that we serve, right? Whether they're in Saipan or Rota in the Northern Islands, whether it's a disgruntled employee in the government or even in the private sector. We hear all kinds of stuff, and the only way we can deal with that is to get both sides and to get accurate information, because we cannot rely on one. So we've heard both sides and we have accurate information, and now what we're going to do is we need a reaction to this. We need to fix it, and we need to do our amendments, and we need to meet and stuff like that, so that we can kind of move forward and all get on with our lives and get on with our work and start serving the public. But thank you. I know, Administrator, I know you've endured the most emotions out of this and stuff like that, but so have we, and it's kind of difficult. We've been taken away from our work as well, right, to make sure that we can find the solutions to this problem. And there's nothing wrong with this. It's human nature. Things like this happen. There's a lot more things happening that's worse, actually, in other places and other jurisdictions. But things like this happen, and sometimes we have to go through this to make these positive changes. Like I said, every now and then, in my work, when I get frustrated, I step back. Sometimes I just go home or go for a drive, and then I come back and I just brush things off deep breath and okay, we gotta come back and do what we need to, right? And just approach things in a more cordial way. So that's all I ask, is that we communicate more effectively. All of us, not only yourself, but all of us. I yield, Mr. President.
Thank you, Flor, Leader. Senator Cruz, you have any other requests?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Can you, do you have, or rather, do you have any issue with DCCA? Have you ever give assistance to DCCA department? Like I said, if there's an issue with our agency, I strongly suggest that you get up to them and resolve those either misunderstanding or whatever issue there might be. Get up to them. And in regards to the I think this is the program, the coronavirus and emergency rental system. Is Mr. Andrew the one is the one working on that? What can you enlighten us where we are now with that funds?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Dana Calvo would enlighten the body.
Hi, thank you. So just to give a full scope on the program and where we started and where we're at currently, I'm just going to give a brief update as to how it initiated and everything. So initially on February 16, we started distributing applications to the community. At the time, we didn't have a CSARA staff, so OGM and the respective youth centers, Cobreville, Cagman, Tanapag, San Vicente, and at the multi-purpose center. Staff from those respective youth centers and as well as the main office were assisting us with distributing applications. And once the CSARA staff started working was March 1st. They then were dispersed among the centers to continue with distribution. And during that phase was when we received a high volume and a surge of applications being submitted. And then we moved into the office space and created the official CSARA office in mid-March. And from there, we have the hearing the meeting with NMHC, DYS, and DCCA for LIHEAP in May. Around that time, so we had that meeting to collaborate and get recommendations and suggestions from the other agencies on our program to help improve things, because at the time when we had already received so many applications and the staff were in the review process and such. So to clarify, we were receiving about 2 applications a day. Processing wise, we were processing about 10 to 15 cases per caseworker. So that was our output on the daily, and we were receiving 2 applications per day. In terms of obligating the funds, the 10 million that we received from the Department of Treasury, the 65% does need to be obligated by September 30, 2021. The August deadline was a deadline that I gave to myself and the staff so that we're aware of what we need to obligate, and just to give us a bit more of a push to get the assistance out to the community and help our clients. And during that meeting, there was a suggestion to do outreach by going to apartment complexes and knocking door to door to get more applicants. And we are constantly considering outreach as something that we will do throughout the program. But at the time when we had already received 1,400 applications, and out of those 1,400, about 400 were circulating among the staff, and we were still reviewing, trying to get the assistants out. We felt that the priority was to focus our staff and our time and energy on reviewing that 1,400 in full and getting our numbers more up to speed so that our clients aren't waiting. And a huge chunk of those applications received were from February and March, when the staff we just had the staff on March 1st. So we felt that priority was reviewing, and outreach is still always something that we are interested in definitely doing. And our form of outreach in the beginning of the program was through the youth centers and the multipurpose center. Up to date, we have assisted 398 of our clients with rental and utility assistance, and that number is still growing. We're still reviewing, conducting interviews on the daily with our clients, and currently the date that we are at in reviewing applications is, I believe, June 18. Yes, June 18 is where we're reviewing those that have submitted an application. And I'm very proud of the staff for getting more up to date, because prior we were still in May with reviewing applications, but finally we are within the month for reviewing. And so we are trying to contact every client that has applied and make sure that we reach out and do our part as well.
Okay, so that's approximately 1,400 application?
Yes, since that 1,400 was when we had the meeting, but to date it's 1,600 now.
Okay, so when you say reviewing application, meaning you call them in to interview, or just reviewing application, and when you see something in the application that is not submitted as required, you call them in, or you call them in when you review application? And how many individual per day that you calling in to interview in regards to this program?
So first question,
I ask this because there's a timeline for this one, right?
yes.
If you don't flush out this, we might lose the funding. So that's why I asked whether you're reviewing application, and if there's something is missing in that application, you call them in and then you enter, or you at the same time you enter with the application.
So when a staff member gets an application, they go through the documents that have been provided. If there are documents that are missing, they will contact the client and say that the option to submit is they can email the missing documents to us, or they can stop by the office and we can make copies for those documents to include. Once the staff member has all the documents they need to determine eligibility, and they find that the household is eligible, they will then schedule an interview with the household to come in. And from there, the household will come in, they'll sign further documents to enter into the program.
So do you have the resources to assist these individuals in filling up the application, or just give them the application and then multi-purpose, or wherever your staff are giving out the application, do you assist them in filling up the application, or?
Yes, if they have any questions, they're welcome to call in, or we can go. What I've noticed a lot is the staff, whoever's working the front desk, the reception area, will go through the list of required documents to clarify what is needed for them to submit and what is applicable for the household. So we do offer those services if they were to come in person to help them go through the application.
So you have the necessary personnel to handle that, or do you recommend assistance from other department to assist your side
For
for this program?
for distributing or going through the
Even
application?
with filling up, with assisting filling up the application.
The staff is definitely capable
Yeah.
with, yes. With
So you don't have
assisting.
any problem.
Mm,
We're not gonna lose this money.
we're working our hardest to prevent that, and
Okay, so-
that's why the August deadline was something that I was communicating on my end and to the staff, so that we are more prepared and aware that there is a big goal in mind of obligating these funds.
Okay, so this is only for US citizen, or does this cover CW workers?
Currently, the program is, the qualifications is US citizen, long-term resident, or permanent resident. We do hope to have a decision in the near future that we can announce to the public, and we keep all our applications. So if the program were to open up, we will contact all the CWs who have applied and were deemed ineligible at the time.
Okay, it was recommended that this afternoon that prior to your hearing, or rather, that I think should be, you know, a recommendation to do an outreach so we can flush out this program, and so to avoid losing some of the money. So that's up to you, the OGM. You know, it's just a recommendation. If that's needed to be done, then I think it's up to you, administrator, to, you know, to proceed with any other means of trying to, you know, to assist our people here in the community. With that, thank you for that new statement, and yeah, yes, no.
I can add that as of today, we have submitted about $974,000, 394.61 to finance for payment. Full checks have been made out in the amount of $748,911, not including CUC. We did a prepayment to CUC, so that way we can prevent disconnections in the amount of $100,000. So every time a memo is issued to finance for payment, a memo goes to CUC, so that name gets logged into the system, so that it can prevent
How
disconnection.
much again, total?
For rental or for the CUC?
For rental, how much for rental?
Rental, 974,394.61. On average, an average of about 30 application gets processed a day, amounting to about 83,000, like $70 to $85,000 a day submitted to finance. Their staff are really working hard trying to reach that goal.
So utility, how much?
Right now, we deposited $100,000 to CUC, and according to like Shani, it's being drawn down as we go. And I informed them that if that amount reaches below 25,000, then we're going to ask for another check to be cut, so that way we prevent disconnection.
Okay, so about 1 million, roughly 1 million.
Yeah, 1.074.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. Thank you, Ms. Dana and Administrator, for guiding through the questions being raised. I do want to kind of just go back further early on, Mr. Cabrera. You know, I'm going to keep referencing the 1949, and if it's not applicable in terms of the grants in discussion, then please feel free to clarify. So, you know, if we look at all the grants based on the law, there are some exceptions to the rule as far as 1949, in which entity, primarily revenue generating or autonomous agencies that you don't have an oversight on or any approval on or signature for that matter. Do you feel that we should get more funds in the IDC other than what you reported in your? Is there the way the 1949 is written, the way that all these grants are coming in, whether or not you originated from your office, but the fact that by virtue of 1949 you have to sign off. Do you feel that you should get more of that?
You're asking whether or not our office should get more indirect costs?
Well, whatever it is that by law that requires you to build on the indirect costs. Because of 40%, or in this case, no, 35% of a dollar is less than 35% of $10. So as it grows, the grants, obviously that representation will grow as well, right? It's corresponding.
Yes.
What do you think with the lay of the land right now, with what you just mentioned, the $10 million for housing assistance?
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? And I know yesterday or the other day, the Illinois came out with a plethora of grants, a lot of grants, and I'm just curious. And one of them mentioned that it goes to the general fund, whatever representation that means. We'll find out later, but just casually asking this question.
As mentioned in the past, please remember that, like the SARA program, it's a benefit, it's a pass-through. So no indirect costs can be collected off of that 9 point some million.
So there's distinction, no?
There is a distinction.
So it's the MAP, TAP, and what else that you can get your IDC on?
The MAP grants are also equipment, heavy equipment.
Okay. So it's eligible?
You don't get indirect costs from heavy equipment unless you quantify or you isolate the shipping charges. The shipping charge is like 8,000, then you can multiply the indirect costs off the shipping charge. It just depends on the way the contract is formatted. So more than likely, it's not everything going to generate maybe $500 or $300.
Okay. So what I'm trying to get to is the more that we generate, and what you all folks are doing, you're going out and getting grants through your efforts, that will build on that. But the pass-throughs, which is all this response. The reason why I asked that because it didn't say pass-through or anything. Always says all grants, all federal grants in the law. There's no distinction. So, standing from this side, I would think just reading in plain reading saying all grants.
Yeah. We learned that in the process when we're doing the indirect cost proposal, when they flagged us for a LIHIP or a child care benefit. They said, no, you can't include that. That's pass through, remove it, deduct, and then it'll reduce the rate. So the people in the States are the IBCs watching what we submit. So that's the process.
Okay. It appears that you mentioned earlier substantial amount of assistance to the municipality, generally speaking, because you were responding to the testimony before the committee earlier by our mayor, Tinian. You mentioned quite a substantial, and would you think it's appropriate to report on this?
Yes.
I mean, unless it's in here already, but I didn't see it.
Sometimes we just generalize the topic, but we don't go into detail of the specifics.
Why not?
We only allow 4 pages on the CCR.
On the law? The law says 4 pages on it?
I'm not sure, but I think that's the standard, or that's what we were practicing, 4 pages. That's why most pages are 4 pages. I stand corrected, I don't know, but I believe it's 4 pages.
Okay, well, I don't know too, so whether or not it's 4 pages or 5 pages, I just think that in your testimony, those are very good information for the people to know, never mind this committee, but the people to know that that's what the agency has been delivering. And those are substantial amount of money that I think it requires. I strongly believe they require some sort of a reporting on your citizen-centric report. So, you know, when you do report that one has questions, there's your answer. And I believe in this because you sent it out. And I'm running with a lot of this information, which is very good, very colorful, and a lot of good pictures on. And I commend the agency for, I mean, your entity for doing this, and I encourage you to continue to maybe tighten it up a little and allow more of those information you just clarified earlier. Is that something that you can share with this committee? That one you testified on?
Yes, but more so, in response to the past few days, we will submit a more comprehensive report to the legislature. That's what I'm thinking. We're gonna make it more for the submission to this body, aside from the centric report.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. But I also want to ask, there are some standing requests, no, that we generally agree to, for you to respond. Are we ready for that
Sure.
to submit it?
Again, I apologize. I've been in meetings and for the EIC grant that's due next Wednesday.
Don't worry, you don't have to apologize. I'm just asking if it's ready or.
We have drafted up the mock-up for it, but I still need more time to review it. I just want to make sure that it's comprehensive and to the best taste that we can provide to the body.
Okay, thank you. What about the, I'm going to ask this, and I'm going to, with no objection from the members, I'm going to sometimes ask Dave to guide me through notes. Well, that's why he's here to guide us with the financials that we submitted, that your office submitted. Then there was a standing question of an indirect cost collectively of about $14 million based on the reminder that you submitted, of which $5 million is represented already. I do, however, there's a balance of that. Would you be able to share this committee where are those, or what are the status of those?
Yes. Can I just ask Mr. Mr. Delpan, is the $14 million on the cumulative budget or on the actuals?
Those are budgeted.
Okay, sir. So as mentioned in the past, we cannot collect indirect costs unless the item is spent, incurred, obligated, in the actual column of the JD Edwards. So it's just a budget. So in hindsight, you cannot necessarily just take everything and just think that, oh, that money is gonna go straight to OGM or to the single government. It has to be spent. Yes.
Go ahead. Clarify. You look at a financial expenditure report on one grant, for example. Say take defense. You look at one grant. On that particular worksheet, you will see a financial plan. And on that financial plan, you will itemize the types of expenditure. And one of them would be indirect costs budgeted. And then if you look at the other column there, they will say indirect costs, cumulative expenditure. That means that the budget has already been spent to that date. And then you would then have to figure out the fund balance for the indirect costs. So in reality, the budgeted indirect cost has been spent to date. And based on my analysis, it's showing approximately $9.4 million still available unspent from the budgeted indirect costs.
That's why I asked you just earlier, is it on the cumulative budget side? And you said yes, but okay, but now you clarified.
Okay.
Now you clarified, now I understand your question. Okay. So if I were to do the reverse math off of the JD Edwards of the total indirect cost as reported of $3.5 million collected by the grants office, so that's 3.5 divided by at least 40% or 35%, right? To get the reverse charge, your answer should be what? should be at least 40%, right? $3.5 million is 40% of what number? So 3.5 million divided by 0.4 equals $8.75 million in collected indirect costs. That's how much money has been collected in the past since 2016. So you're asking the question, where is that money? The answer is, it's not with me. It's with the central government with finance. We only get money straight. We have to write a memo to draw down that money to our office. That's all I can say. That's all I can do, because that's what's authorized by law to me or to the office. So any questions regarding the excess of money, I cannot answer that. Sir.
Any further check?
Yes, you still got.
So the 5.4, approximately 5 million been spent on indirect costs. That money has not been, you didn't receive any amount of that expenditure on indirect costs to your office today?
As mentioned, like I said, the JD Edwards, it shows that we have our own specific accounts, right? It goes straight to our account.
No, I'm asking you, I'm just asking you on that particular amount of money that has been spent today on indirect costs. Did your office receive any portion of that indirect cost expenditure? Because I believe that before your office would get any money, right, you would have to request for reimbursement based on what is spent.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm assuming that expended to date amount of 5 million approximately.
Yeah.
I was assuming that your office would have, request for reimbursement for some of that money.
That money, again, is represented as a reimbursement to the Sinumar government. We only ask our share by law of the 35 to 40%, given the time period. That's the truth.
Yes, please, I understand that, but I'm just asking you, of that $5 million spent today, did your office receive a portion of that based on that 40%?
No.
Thank you. Wanna clarify?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Anything else, Mr. Cabrera? You wanna say something?
Well, I can say I wish we received that money, but I'm just being honest, no.
Okay, one more, a couple more questions with regards to again, going back to 1949. Do we have a regulation in place for ID subtracts, or any regulation to represent the compliance of the law?
Yes, sir. As mentioned in the past hearings, we said that section 5.9 has an outline of the procedures. We also have the forms.
Can you provide a copy of that?
Yes.
If you don't mind.
No.
Como gaini?
Today afternoon, like,
Whenever, or as soon as you can. You just want to.
yes. Mr. Sanchez has those documents prepared.
Okay, so that's basically the guiding principle as to how you're going to execute, no? The subgrants. Do you have a reviewing committee in your office as far as who gets what?
I mean, like for the most part, it's myself and
So you do have?
me, myself.
No, you do have?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to conclude with this, my questions. So those standing request by this committee is pending. Can you give us a timeline as to when you think that would be ready?
Can we have about at least by next Wednesday, sir?
What date is it?
Wednesday,
30, no?
30.
June 30?
30, end of business day.
Okay, if I would like to request, if we're having an issue with, we appreciate a heads up.
Yes.
Email to the office staff or
Yes, sir.
to me personally. Dave, you have a.
That's what I sent you an email last week, Mr. Cabrera. You received an email requesting an e-copy
of your Excel file regarding the supporting schedule of the summary report. You can provide us a copy of that.
Yes.
Unprotected.
Just a, yes.
Unprotected. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Rivera, before you?
No, I just want to thank the body again for this time.
As what was mentioned earlier, we have this as a result of all the events changing leading up to this, and not to need anything less than anything more than to improve the function of your office, and we want to help do that. I think all of us up here are responsible again with the creation of an SC because it's important to have. I hope that you share the same sentiment, that from here on out, communications between respective offices is taken very seriously, and it's okay to say that it's wrong, and I will do the same. If I'm wrong, I'll tell you. I will admit it. But at the same time, it's important that line of communication is open at all times, and this goes to any agency or any in between this platform. I do want to say that I will be appointing a couple of two members of the Senate to work on start the ball rolling on the possible amendments of the law, and that we will be in contact with your office for consultation along the way. Please know that you're welcome to submit any uh, um, suggestive provisions you may to allow the members to craft the potential amendments of the law. I also suggest highly on behalf of this body that I'm not quite sure the details of what you're operating right now with the additional, whatever, rental assistance and all that. But whether or not that can qualify to get you the guidance for their employees to help with your able staff, your hardworking staff, to get more grants, I'll leave that up to you. And see what kind of flexibility you have. But we stand ready, as I mentioned earlier, to work with you in funding or trying to fund additional grant writers to assist. I know it's hard to find. You guys are special. It's special people, and there's also a compliance section that perhaps maybe you can deploy, so that all the other the grants is administered and submitted. Then I couldn't overemphasize the need to have a response to any agency or instrumentality municipality once they submit a grant proposal and it's denied. And simple email, to say the least, that OIA did not approve your request. If you have any questions, this is the site you visit, or call this. You know what I mean, right? You understand what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, I think a lot of this can be averted if we have a proper standard operating procedure in terms of protocols and communication to and from. Your agency that you manage plays a vital role in the continuation of projects and functions of the government, especially in times of weak revenue stream from the general fund. Other than that, I wish to thank you and everybody else that participated in this platform. I also would like to thank the staff, also the governor, for joining us. All the agencies that have been called to testify, I want to express an appreciation to them on behalf of the committee and the staff of the Bureau for the assistance rendered during this set of hearings. We are done with this platform, but the special committee will remain intact until we accomplish the objective of such desire, and that is which you agree, right? It needs some amendment to the law.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with that, anything else, members? The chair now would like to call for a motion to adjourn this special committee meeting or hearing.
I'd like to offer a motion, Mr. President, to adjourn the Senate Special Committee.
Then a motion is in order and seconded. Discussion, all those in favor of the motion to adjourn the Senate Special Committee meeting, please say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. This hearing stands adjourned. Subject to the call. Thank you. Good afternoon.